leave the door again. I'ma leave the door open. That you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming through. I need you, baby. La la la, la 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 la. I got to see you, baby. La la la, la 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 la. Girl, I'm trying to be hey, I'ma leave my door open. I'ma leave the door open, baby. I'ma leave my door open, girl. And I'm hoping that you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming through.
So gone over you. Yeah. Blue Monica. Simply of me. Devoted so much time to find you, faithful boy. I nearly lost my mind. Drive past your house every night in an unmarked car. Longing what you had for me to make you break my heart. Yeah, I'm so proud to make me feel when I love you, baby. Nights I couldn't sleep. You let the sun reach on. I ask myself over again, what am I doing wrong? She would make you stay out all night and nothing to call. What does she have over me to make it nothing to call? I'm so close. You make me feel when I love you, baby. So boy, I'm no rowdy shit. Sometimes I have to fight cause my mouth too slick. Baby, why you doing me like I ain't worth it? Make me wanna ride past your house and sit. Kick down your doors and smack your chick. Just to show you Monica not having it. So in love with you like a drug addict. You treat me so unreal. What she do, I do. What she did to make you love her. She do. What she do, I do. When is it real? Oh, when I love you, baby. Oh, when I love you, baby. Oh, when I love you, baby. Ooh, oh, when I love you, baby. Oh, when I love you, baby. Oh, when I love you, baby. Just to show you Monica not having it. Yeah, I'm so close. You make me feel when I love you, baby. I don't really need you.
Southern Soul at its best is on 92.1 Smooth R&B.
Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place. Cause the love you give, it can't be replaced. See, no one else, let me let you do. That's why I don't mind to spend my life with you. I wanna please you in any way I can. I wanna share my world, don't you understand? Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give me a good feeling all day long. Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on. You give me a really good feeling all day long. Turn me inside out, make my heart beat. Need no one else, you're all I need. Personality, and everything you do makes me love everything about you. Your smile, your style is so fly. I can't deny, I got a crush on you, and that's true indeed. And I'm digging you, you make me believe that your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on. You give me a really good feeling. Oh yeah, all day long. Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on. You give me a really good feeling. All day long. I'll give you
Test one, two.
anything you want from me. Anything you need, anything you so desire.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't hear myself, but if you do, you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Now I can hear but I can't hear myself. Testing one. We're testing. I can hear a little bit. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. I can kind of hear a little bit. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What time? Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What time? Yeah, okay. Testing 1, 2. Okay. What time? Okay.
Testing. Oh, yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Me and my family, we all doing fine. We get our weekend and we lose our minds. We pull out them grills and get our groove on.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2.
Now this is song that makes you party all
Test
day
1, 2,
long.
1, 2,
All
1, 2.
day long.
Test 1, 2.
All day long.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2, 1,
All day
2.
long.
Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1.
All day long.
Test 1 2 1 2.
All day long. All day long.
Test 1 2 1 2.
Can y'all feel me? Monday through Sunday. Same old
Test 1
thing.
2 1 2 1 2.
This is what we do.
Test
That
1 2.
fried chicken, that black eyed peas. Hey, that
Test 1 2.
cornbread,
Test
that
1 2.
collard greens. All day long. 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 Cold beer. All day long. Pork chops. All day long. Them hog mogs. All day long. Them fried skins, y'all. All day long. 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 All day
Lou, I know you gonna get it right on that grill today. I know you got to connect with them green onions like you always do. Every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday. Mario, where you at? They going down in Alabama, baby. It's your boy Side P. B-Roll. What up?
all day long. All day long. That Mississippi. All day long. 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 It ain't nothing but a backyard party. You know we do it big right here. Y'all,
Waking you
let's
up
go.
early and putting you to sleep at night. 92.1 Smooth R&B.
Ran into an old friend yesterday. Caught me by surprise when he called my name. He was a familiar face from a chapter in my past. Showing me her photograph.
Hey,
All the feelings that I thought were gone
also gone.
came rushing back to me.
Man's one.
Started smiling at the way I felt.
Welfare.
But I was thinking to
Hey, welcome back to Visions Now Supper Club. All views expressed for their educational and journalistic purposes, they're not the views the management, advertisers, and staff of 92.1 FM. However, Visions does desire to bring a quality entertainment program which intellectually stimulates and culturally fulfills our community's needs to develop leadership and informed decision making for our collective future. Welcome to the village. Often imitated, but never duplicated. I'm Dr. Jaylene Hood, your host and executive producer. Welcome. Test 1 2 1 2. check
so
in.
sad and dumb. Yes, I'm still in love.
Testing 1, 2, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's it. No, go back. The music. You push the wrong button on that. Okay. Okay, I can't hear it. Testing 1, 2. Welcome to another session of Visions Now, the Supper Club. And of course, just trying to take care of a few technical difficulties. And want to profile page. Yes, I'd like to welcome you to another session of Visions. Just trying to get you in here. And of course, today we want to here. Just trying to another thing, I want to say happy birthday to Miss Louis Farrakhan. And of course, and we also plan to have with us today, if time permits, Miss Lakeitha Ash, school board candidate for the school board. And she's, as you know, a few weeks ago, we had Miss Pat Frey, and she expressed her platform and what envision for the school board. And today we hope to have, at least for some time, Miss Lakeitha Ash. But right now, we're going to go and play a few tributes to Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whose birthday it is. And that is birthday today. And so we're going to go and again, happy birthday to the big brother, to the Godfather. This Visions Now, the Supper Club on 92.1 Smooth R&B.
The righteous should always be here, so that whatever happens in your life, you find the inner strength to get on through. And you got to find the strength from within yourself, because there are times when you can't lean on nobody. There are times when mom is not going to be there, dad is not going to be there, your best friend is not going to be there. So some connection got to be made with you and your creator direct, that you can go on through it alone, knowing that you're still not alone.
And then just come on down in the order.
Happy birthday, Mr. Farrakhan. I
birthday shout out to a man that needs no introduction. Happy birthday to one of our great Black leaders who has continually stood up for Black people even when it meant putting himself in jeopardy. None other than Minister Louis Farrakhan, who turns 90 years old this day on May 11th. Happy birthday, my brother. Your words are powerful to me, and I hold them near and dear to my heart. They've gotten me through a lot of tough times, and it really instilled in me that do for self mentality that you always speak about. You embody the core essence of what it means to be a strong Black man. So salute to the guy, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Peace. Just
our back is the African Americans. We have got to go get our cousins, our siblings, because that's the only hope we have. Has China not been to Africa?
Yes.
Has America not been to Africa?
Yeah.
Has Europe, Dutch? Has not every nation, every race been to Africa? And what have they done? They have come and they have gone back.
Right. Yes.
Everything that you do with them, they take back eventually to their nation and prosper their people. The African American has no nation. He has no home. This is his home. That's your only hope for economic viability, which is why it's very important that we grow with the diaspora, because they're the only one that can come here, put money in you, and not take it anywhere. They have nowhere to take it to.
How do we become economically free as Africans and Ghanaians?
Well, one of the first things is we have to realize that the only people that's going to have our back is the African Americans.
Wow.
We have got to go get our cousins, our siblings, because that's the only hope we have. Has China not been to Africa?
Yes.
Has America not been to Africa?
Yeah.
Has Europe, Dutch? Has not every nation, every race been to Africa? And what have they done? They have come and they have gone back.
Right. Yes.
Everything that you do with them, they take back eventually to their nation and prosper their people. The African American has no nation. He has no home. This is his home. That's your only hope for economic viability, which is why it's very important that we grow with the diaspora. Because they're the only one that can come here, put money in you, and not take it anywhere. They have nowhere to take it to.
In our community,
I lost my son to gun violence, my brother to gun violence, and my grandfather to gun violence. And I became a victim's advocate in 2017 when my brother was killed. I wasn't prepared for when my son was killed. One of the things that I have, the stand your ground law, it's like they're using that as a free ticket to kill. And a lot of the gang members here in Columbus know the laws, and they're killing at will, and they're not being prosecuted. So I think we need stricter laws, or they need to do more investigating when a person try to use stand your ground, because the other person is dead. You don't know their stance. You're only going by the stance of the killer. So instead of taking their word at face value, I would love for our detectives to investigate.
The next question is for Dr. Hood. Dr. Hood, you have worked with young folks in our community to keep them on the right path. Do you think more support and funding for programs like yours would help curb gang violence?
I would say yes, but I have a caveat for that. I think there needs to be more coordination, and it also needs to be more study as to who's most likely to become involved in inappropriate behaviors. Because what I've found is that we have a lot of financial resources, but unfortunately, we don't have the expertise in our political leadership, nor in our governmental leadership. No pun to them, because it takes a lot of time and work to become an expert in community violence prevention and intervention. We're critical on law enforcement. We're great. But when it comes to prevention and intervention, the human being, we don't know how to build them and rebuild them and resurrect them, but we know how to lock them up.
When you talked about coordination, talk a little bit more about that.
Well, let me just be, I told Chuck I was going to be straight, so I'm going to be straight. We have a crime prevention board. Now, my thing from the very beginning, when we first discussed it with Weatherington as the mayor, was that I felt that everybody who got a grant, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, should be a part of a coalition that will meet monthly to discuss their role in crime prevention. And they will report. From my investigation, there have been multi-million dollars that have been spent in crime prevention, but nobody can tell me what has been done with multi-million dollars, and no city council person, mayor, and anyone else has asked, let's do an investigation to find out what has happened with all this money. Why isn't it resulting in less crime? So my point is, it's not their fault. I come out of academia as well as out of the streets. So I investigate. For example, most of the young people who are doing these crimes, has anyone asked, did they have a father in their life? Had they been locked up before? We're going at a crisis situation when we should be addressing what I call the low-hanging fruit. We have an extensive juvenile probation system that is doing nothing other than you're on probation, nothing changes. And then you have them, and God bless the leadership at the RYDC now. We do have an intervention strategy and a reentry strategy for juveniles that's novel to this community that Project Rebound Inc. is doing. So my point is, it's not about Project Rebound. We need everybody, but they need to know what they're doing. They need to have some expertise, so what they're bringing to the table, so everyone knows their lane, and it should be a regular reporting to make adjustments. As a researcher, you don't just do something and where's the research to back up whatever you're doing?
There needs to be some checks and
Yes,
balances.
some checks and balances.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Sutton, could you talk about the 180-degree program and also how our schools can help curb the violence in the community?
Sure. Muskogee County School District hosts an annual event called the 180-degree Student of the Year, designed to support students who are making significant improvements in their academics, their behavior, their attendance, civil behaviors, interpersonal behaviors, and so on. This is a partnership between Muskogee County School District and Leadership Columbus, specifically the 2018 cohort that was birthed probably around 2020. And this was in support of Dr. Lewis, Dr. David Lewis's strategic plan, as well as the leadership of our Chief Student Services Officer, Dr. Angela Vickers-Ward. The program itself is designed to recognize one student per school building. So this elementary all the way through high school that have shown exemplary improvements, and they are recognized by their teachers. There's only one student that's voted upon for each building. There's an event that culminates at this time of the year, where there is an award ceremony. They're provided with certificates. There is an overall winner for each of those categories, and we celebrate them. It is designed to help students who are on a trajectory for, maybe some at-risk types of behaviors, or even involvement in behaviors that might contribute to later problems. It's designed to, really reinvigorate and motivate and re-engage them in more healthy, positive behaviors that are not contributing towards any of the violence that we see in our communities today. In terms of how might that actually support violence in general, we do have a number of supports, intervention supports, prevention that are implemented at each of our schools at varying levels. So we try to make sure we understand the needs of the students at each building, at each level, and make sure that we are partnering with community organizations to continue to provide that support, whether it be mentoring support, providing social emotional learning lessons, providing positive behavior and interventions and supports. And so there are a number of things that we are doing as a school district to try to curb some of the concerns that we're seeing in the community.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton.
Right. Mr. Lawson, this question is for you. You talk to gang members on a regular basis as part of your program. If you could tell us about some of those conversations.
Thank you all for having me, first of all. But firstly, I just want to say, I hope that everybody understands that, you know, gangs didn't start off bad. All gangs are community-based and community-oriented. Like Gangster Disciples, they mean growth and development. Crips mean community restoration and progress. Blood means brotherly love, override, pressure, and depression. If we're going to curb gang violence, we need to understand what caused it. Why were they even created? They wasn't created as robbers and thieves and killers. These people were created to protect their community. And unfortunately, now we have hybrid fractions of gangs created because they tend to have that same mentality, but it's more close-knitted. It's these groups of kids, and they're primarily children and teenagers, so I'm a little bit older than that. But the conversations that I have with them is basically they have no trust in the system that has proven to fail them at every point. And the thing that proves that is the fact that we continue to employ and deal with people to teach our children and show our children things that they're not culturally connected to. If you never had a mom on crack or a dad on crack or a sister on crack, if you've never experienced none of these things, how can you rightfully teach and give these people a message? So if they coming up in a system that has proven that they failed them, but yet this same system is trying to give them hope, we're going to fail again, because what we potentially end up doing is having words that are empty, and we're not reaching our children. So when I'm out in these communities, boots on the ground, and talking with these children, yes, we're working with collaborative efforts of other organizations. And like Dr. Hood said, we want to know what you're doing, like a report card, because you got a lot of organizations that has had money poured into them, and we haven't yielded any results. Crime is still up, and the programs are still being created. So what are we seeing? We're not seeing results. We keep seeing violence, and we keep seeing deaths, and the kids are getting younger, and the elderly are getting older, and they're killing the elder. There's no morale there, because the people who are supposed to be the leaders have dropped the ball. Why did they take the recreation from our communities? Why did they shut down aquatics? Why did they take the resources that were proven to help our communities and then turn around and tell us to live a meaningful life inside of a project area that the resources are depleted from?
This question will be for both Pastor Flakes and
Williams.
Pastor Elder. What do you think the church's role is in keeping kids on the straight path?
One, we have to take a perspective of redemptive theology. We have to take a perspective of restorative justice. The church is there to reinforce what parents should be doing in the home. So many people, first of all, look to the church first in order to provide the kind of teaching and the kind of values, the kind of morals. But really that starts at home. That's the foundation. The church is there to reaffirm. The church is there, yes, to teach, to build strong family ties, to connect with community. But we have to make sure that we are believing that Jesus Christ is really the answer. We can do all the programming that we want to do, but it seems as if the church become attacked in so many questions. Where's the church? The church is where it's always been, in the community. But because there are perspectives in terms of in this fallen world, we have to take a look at understanding that the reason that we have the kind of violence is because of evil, sin. We don't want to talk about that. We want to basically look at other secular and behavioral modification approaches, and I have no problems with that. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we understand redemption through Jesus Christ is the way. Whether persons embrace that or not, that is what has been shown, particularly in terms of other cities who have pastors who've led movements, ministries in Chicago, in New York, that they have basically said to those gang members, there is a better way, but the heart has to change. If the heart doesn't change, you can give me whatever. But if my heart is so cold and callous that if you step on my shoe, I'll smoke you today, because I do not value life. I protect it, but do I value it? And so I think the church has a role in really continue to lift that up in terms of that life is valuable, but it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to someone that's greater than us. So thank you so very much.
Pastor Elder.
You know, going on what Johnny said and what Mr. Lawson said too, there's an overriding idea that we need to consider this community as one. It's one community, one people. If something happens in one part of Columbus, if a tragedy, a death, someone's murdered, then it's my heart too. It's not just yours down there, and it's not just that part of town.
I agree.
And one of the things the church does, as Johnny eloquently put, is reminds us that faith is something that cuts across every line that's out there, whether it's race or creed, whatever it is, it cuts across that and reminds us that we all have a common place in the heart of God, and that God brought us into this world, and that we're all one people. You know, if you go back to the very beginning of Columbus in its earliest days was turning into a very rough area. In fact, there was a lot of violence, and there was a lot of fear that it was going to turn into a very violent community. And the city fathers were smart
Let's have some straight talk. Are you sick of being trapped in a title pond or just need a loan now? Call 1-800-NEW-RATE. If you're in a title pond trap, we can get you out. Check out some of these features. We save you thousands in interest, we lower your payments, possibly cut in half, and you get up to $1,000 in extra cash. That's $1,000 extra cash, and your first payment is not due for up to 45 days. Call 1-800-NEW-RATE. That's 1-800-NEW-RATE. RATE. It's fast, it's easy, and you get approved right over the phone, and you get your check today. Do you need a loan? Do you need to pay off that high-interest title pond loan and your first payment not due for 45 days? And you could maybe half the payment of the title pond? Call 1-800-NEW-RATE. That's 1-800-NEW-RATE. RATE. Did I mention you get up to $1,000 extra cash? That's 1-800-NEW-RATE. Get approved over the phone. Get your check today. That's 1-800-NEW-RATE. RATE. Did I mention you get up to $1,000 in extra cash? That's 1-800-NEW-RATE. RATE.
Do a mic check. Or you think she's good? Okay.
Yeah, you do my check for me.
Yes, we'll keep Ash. Oh, was I supposed to just say mic check?
You can say that too.
Wait, no, whatever. Just as long as you can hear your voice and make sure it's coming through on the air. You want to keep talking?
Yes, this is Lakeitha Ash. I'm running for school board, District 7. Keep on.
Okay. I heard that. You know which one it was? Okay. You just point at me when you want me to start again. All right. Welcome back to Visions Now, your supper club. And of course, today, again, want to say a very, very, very happy birthday to my big brother, the Godfather, Mr. Louis Farrakhan. And of course, he's 90 years old today. He's been with us. He's been with us about 60 years for sure. I know we've been there for at least 60 years. And so, we certainly don't know where we would be without him. And so we thank him so very, very much for the leadership and the courage that he's shown us as a community. Today, as we had stated, that we have with us the second representative that for the school board position left by Ms. Kathy Williams. That's District 7. And if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Ash, I want to again welcome you to Visions Now. This is I think it's your first time being with us.
Yes.
Okay. And why don't you lay out for us the district, who's the voters in that district, what the boundaries are for us?
Yes, absolutely. I'm Lakeitha Ash, and I'm running for school board District 7, as Dr. Hudge has just stated. District 7 is a very large and diverse district. It streams from your South Columbus, Oakland Park area. It goes up Kendrick Quarters. It's in Uptown, Bibb City area, the Park District right there at the Columbus High, not Columbus High side, the opposite side. Mm-hmm. You also have J.D. Davis Elementary School. That's a part of our district. We have the Marshall Success Center. That's a part of our district as well. We have, I believe, it's 5 elementary schools and 1 middle school, no high schools. We have Key Elementary School. We have Downtown Elementary. We have South Columbus, J.D. Davis. We have the Marshall Success Center. We even have the Woodle program that all are within District 7. And then our middle school is Eddy Middle School.
Okay. And of course, we don't have much time, but we want to try to just jump on in here and learn a little bit more about you. And now, if you would say, what is your key platform positions? In other words, why are you running? What are the things that you are looking at as being areas that you have particular concern about?
Yes, definitely. First and foremost, that's the one question that I get often. Why are you running? In a nutshell, I'm running for school board because I'm committed to providing the best, education possible for our youth, for our students, and that's what we deserve. We deserve representation that will fight for our youth safety and restore that hope and accountability that we seek. And we want to raise student achievement goals through recognition in all 3 of those areas, and even teacher support. That's a huge area. I don't want to leave out of that as part of my platform. So all of those areas are my platforms.
Right. Now, of course, I'm a little well, I'll put it like this. It's kind of like mama and apple pie. Who can disagree with that, right? I mean, and I think all candidates, they want to improve the education. They want to improve the instruction. They want to improve the student opportunities. But I guess what is it that you bring that another candidate couldn't bring in your opinion?
Okay, in my opinion, I'm a part of the community, not just live in a community what I wish to represent. I'm a part of that community. I live in that community, have for decades. I work in that community. I fellowship in that community. So everything that I do, I'm not doing it just because I get paid. I bring to this table freely. I come to you and offering myself. It's nothing that I I'm just doing because I'm running for an office. This
Okay.
is things that I do on a daily basis and have been doing for numerous of years now.
Okay. Now, if I asked you, okay, let's look at the administration or the present school board. Many times over the years, people have gotten on the school board and they have very good campaign promises, but it seems as if when they get on the school board, it'll be more concerned about becoming a part of the crowd, becoming a part of the group, which means that they go along, they get along. So my first question is, as relate to the school board itself, what would you see? What do you see as being a weakness or a failure of the school board presently in terms of how they operate or how they make decisions or decisions they made that you would be a voice there to oppose?
As far as failure, I don't want to say that because we have
That's fine.
We have awesome,
Okay.
resources. We have
Okay.
awesome things already within the school board that they offer.
Okay.
We have often, as far as our teachers, as far as
Right.
our
Okay, now let's make sure I understand that. I'm not saying what the resources are. I'm really, I want you to, with the time we have, I want you to point out what is it that, okay, if it's doing fine, then, what Lakeitha asked me, like, what is she bringing if everything's going fine? Is there something about the school board in terms of how it operates or the position that is taken or things they have avoided taking that you think that you would be able to highlight?
Okay, we have nothing to compare to because there is an open seat. So it's not like, okay, I'm running up against.
No.
But I know what you're saying.
On the
I'm
whole
just
school
trying to.
board.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to, answer the question
Okay.
in this way. You said, what do I have to offer? Why am I running? Pretty much. And there again, I'm running on behalf of my community to offer those things as far as that community service, that piece here in my community. Number one. Oftentimes, you do have many administrators or school board people that don't listen to their community. You go up for these votes, and have you even asked your community what they think about a particular issue? We got a prime example right now. We have an outpouring of this school start and stop time that's going on right now, that's going up for a vote on next Monday. How many times have we had one of our school board come out and said, what do you really think about this school board change or this school time change? That's what I'm going to bring. I'm not just going to get up there and make a decision based off of what is already just to go along to get along.
Okay.
If I have to be that number one person out of, the other ones that says no, while the other one says yes, it might not get passed, but I made that hard decision listening to my community, and my community said, no, I don't want this. That's what I'm bringing.
Okay.
I'm bringing an listening ear to my community, number one.
Okay. Next question. Okay, let's move to instruction. Presently, for that I know, there's no significant curriculum that is provided for our children in the area of American African studies, about the African American experience, that actually bridges for our children, in my opinion, why they need an education. How do you feel about the critical race theory issue, and where does this present school board stand, and where do you stand?
Okay, I feel like it should be an equality. It should be equal. If it's out there, if we're being taught our history of whatever race, nationality, culture, or whatever, I think it should be across the board that we have that right to teach our students that same, whatever the culture is, whatever the history is. History in itself is history, and we have a right to know that history. And if it's not taught, how would we know? So I feel like that's something that should be offered across the board.
So
if I'm asking,
right.
Okay.
And I'm asking, like, one, what could you do to facilitate that happening?
As far as getting that change to have something like that,
get that added.
There again, I would have to, pretty much, it's not me by myself.
Yeah,
I would have to have the community support and say, even offering the education of how getting these things changed.
Okay.
A lot of times our community don't even know, as far as parents, whoever don't even know how these things become law, that we go and vote for these things and they not even educated, and they like, well, when did that change?
Right.
When did they take a cursive writing out of school?
Right.
When did they take, cultural out of school?
Right. When did they take even recreation?
When
recess?
did they take those things out of school? But it's because we lack that understanding of how this process works, and we don't vote and get involved in those decisions.
Okay. Another question would be most, of course, obviously, I've been a professional educator for a long time in collegiate as well as the public school sector, even to the fact that I was the first professional social worker in the school system that Muscogee County School District, and I started the school social work program. I say all that to say that from your, if you have had the opportunity to, what does our student retention look like? Now, what does the dropout look like in the school system as you know it at present, as far as our students concerned, and the suspension rate? There's been some question about discrepancy between, particularly, I guess, black boys and girls in particular, but I know about the boys, but what does that look like? I mean, have you had a chance to look at any data?
I actually have a workbook with the different demographics and everything that offers that information with the dropout rates, the high school rate. And actually that rate looks like it gotten better. According to this data that's in this book, it appears that it's gotten better. We're at, I believe it says 92% graduation rate. And the dropout rate has gone down. However, it could be a miscorrelation because you got to think about it at the same point too. Yes, your graduation rate is going to go up when you have so many being expelled from the schools. So if you have somebody,
right? See, and I guess that's the data I really would like to know. I mean, what is that? What the suspension rate? In other words, how many children have gone through the alternative school, say, for example? I mean, I don't know whether you have that or not in the past year versus other times. In other words, to the alternative school suspension. What does suspension rates look like? As far as you know,
I don't have that information, but I'll definitely get that information and relate it to you for the past year.
Now, another thing that I have a problem with, and that is that I think that the education of particularly children of color, and let me be more specific, of children of African descent, American African children, they have been put in a situation where they have really been put on a track for training and not education. What I mean by that is that we have all these tablets, and they spend a lot of money on tablets, but no books. What I notice is that when you go to private schools like St. Luke, Brookstone, Pacelli, and even some schools in Columbus and on the other part of town, they have books and they got tablets. Have you looked into it? Are you aware of how this discrepancy is and how our children are being relegated to tablets rather than books? And the other thing about it is that, and as a result of that, children are not doing homework. In my day, that was one of the major parts of my educational experience, was having homework. You got homework. Well, you got schoolwork. Okay, that's fine. But with homework, that's really where you learn that when you did your homework and you brought it back to school. And today, I don't see that. I don't sense that.
Yeah, and it goes back to, you say, okay, we're cutting a lot out of schools. We're cutting out that history. We're cutting out those important things that we that we had. So if you're cutting a lot of those things out, no, you're not going to have a lot of homework because you're not doing a lot of work in school or out of school.
And they don't have the books to do it. That's the other thing about it.
And
I
the
guess
books,
that's what I'm saying.
Even with books, I love a book. I love a good read. I love, however, I can see as far as progressing, when you have, a generation like the one that we're actually living in, they're doing tablets. So why not going to tablets and making an interesting for them? I look back, and this is something we might not agree on.
Well,
because back then I grew up having, 7 books. We had 7 classes. I had the books.
That's right.
I was able, but just as much as we pay for that one book, I lost a book before. And my parents, it was a summer from, wherever, because I had to work and pay for that $100 book.
Right.
When you can get a tablet for pretty much that price and put all your courses in this tablet, and they can carry this one tablet around Books are on these tablets now.
Right,
I understand
right,
what you're
right.
saying, but we
Well,
got to involve. We
right,
can't
okay,
have our
okay.
kids walk.
Well, see, part of the problem is that when you go into higher education, when you go to any education, it's a different experience. One is that I learned responsibility to take them, and sometimes you're gonna lose the books, but they're losing tablets too. Tablets getting stolen. My books didn't get stolen too often. People steal the books too much. But my point of it is that it's a different read when you're reading a book than a tablet. And also when you go to college, if you don't have a foundation of literature, for example, we spend a lot of time in the library. Where it is now, why should children even go to the library? Why should they learn how to read other books and things of that sort? Because the tablet is limited. But when you have books, you're not limited because you can find other books yourself. But based upon the tablets, you'll have access to what you place on there.
Hood, I have to disagree with that.
Okay, that's fine.
Because you have so many different resources in this tablet these days. I'm able to go to Kindle and read a book, a full book, highlight the book on my tablet the
Right.
same way I would get a school book. And even down to higher education, you're having these schools that are going more to an online format that you don't even get a hard copy book anymore. Your book comes in a PDF form. So just like our world is progressing, we have to progress with it. And if that's the way that the world is going right now, we have to be able to offer those.
Okay.
Am I saying no, we should not have books? We should have what our resources can give us right now. And
that's fine. I want to go to another one, but I just want to say this last thing. That is that the only thing those tablets really can do is to guide us to where to find books. And my point is that we're not developing the appreciation for books, but we'll move on to the next.
Can I address that
Well,
real
look,
quick?
just for the sake of time, let me go into the next one. We'll circle
Okay,
back.
all right.
Okay. The third area is the issue of parent involvement. It seems everywhere that parents are not as engaged, as involved. What is your explanation for that, and what would you do about it if you were elected on the school board? What would you try?
I mean, many parents have lost hope in our system. So it's like, okay, well, why do I do this? It's not whatever's gonna be done already anyway. Why should I go here? It's not we had PTAs where our PTAs would be packed. I feel like by restoring this hope and getting these parents engaged again, then that will increase parent involvement by giving them something to look forward to. By giving them that information, because a lot of them don't even have the necessary information that's needed. So if we have to call these town hall meetings and say, hey, this is what's being going on, or this is what's happening. If we have to send out these newsletters monthly or quarterly or however, or these mailers or whatever need to do, whatever it takes to get these parents back involved in their their children's lives, that's what we need to do.
Okay.
Me personally, I would love to implement a monthly or quarterly newsletter saying, this is what we have going on this month. This is how you can get involved. Did you know this? So first and foremost, let's get them informed, get them engaged. And that's going to restore their...
So how would you do that?
There again, through that town hall meetings, newsletters, mailers, something. We got to get it. 9 times out of 10, people are going to check their mail. So if they're going to check their mail, why not have a mailer in that mailbox saying, hey, did you know this is going on at your child's school or in your community? So let's reinforce this by way of following up with, and that reaches everybody. Everybody gets mail.
Right. Now, most times, I'm assuming that you've been involved with PTA before, right?
Yes.
Okay. There are some best practices for effective PTAs. What are some of those that you feel that maybe are not being implemented?
As far as just PTA?
Yeah, just in terms of how PTAs are functioning within the schools. And I know there are school councils, and I know, for example, people told me many times that with the PTA, that the school administrators many times, they would basically neutralize the effectiveness of the PTA and not give them information and things of that sort. And I know I've told them, you need to get to the state PTA association or whatever. And I was wondering, had you looked into an evaluation of how the school is interacting with the PTA that might be discouraging parents from being involved?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say discouraging parents from being involved, because what administrator would not want those parents involved? But
A
there
lot
again,
of them would, but
there again is, providing that information for parents to get involved. That's first and foremost. If they don't even know when the PTA meeting is, then how would you expect for them to show up? So we need to make those resources readily available.
Okay, and those resources would be.
As far as when is PTA, where is PTA,
You mean just flyers
what time?
and things
Yes.
like that? Okay. I guess another question is that I've heard that many people complain about the fact that, and again, and maybe this could be incorrect, and you probably have a closer, idea about it than I do, but homeroom. Do they still have homeroom? For students, is that still a homeroom? Someone said there's a place you check in, but it's not like a half hour, 45 minutes, like a homeroom where identity is there a homeroom going on now?
I have 3 kids that went through the district, and every year they've had a homeroom.
Okay,
so I don't
how much
know.
How much time was that?
I can't remember if it was like 45 minutes or. But they do have a homeroom that they report to.
Okay.
I have a grandson that's also in the school in the district, and yes, I've met his homeroom teacher, throughout the school. So yes.
Okay. So
I don't know if anything has changed since the beginning of school last year, but as beginning of school August, they've had homeroom as far as I know.
Okay, so they had an effective homeroom experience.
Yes.
Okay. Now, fine arts in the school. I mean, I know we have color. Center down here, but in other schools, they're saying that many of the art and the music and things like that. So is that in the schools as well now, or has that been cut out? What?
As far as I know,
Band
you
and
do
things like
have
that?
bands. I know for a fact, like again, I said I had all 3 of my children educated in the district. All 3 of them, well, 2 of them have been in bands since their middle school year.
Okay.
Eddie had an orchestra band.
Okay.
Spencer High School, which was in the district, they're no longer in the district because they, relocated, but they've had band, orchestra and spring band, as well as my daughter was in marching band her whole 4 years and loved it. So yes.
So when are they? No, now I know about high school, but they were saying about, I guess maybe music. I guess they was talking about
music
maybe,
was implemented in at Eddie.
and art.
And 2 of my yes.
Art and music and things like that.
Yes, orchestra.
Okay.
And
now, Title I. Tell us what is your understanding about the role of Title I in the school system?
as far as what funding for Title I?
Yeah,
or as far as-
the types of things that Title I is designed to help disadvantaged schools.
Yeah, I don't have that information, but I can get back with you on that.
Okay. Now, when we look at the success of students, and there are 3 variables that researchers for many years have determined to be most effective. We talked about them. I want to go back into them a little bit so that you can also finish up with some of your previous thoughts. One is the 3 variables. First of all, there's what we call teacher expectations. The second one is what we call parent involvement. And thirdly is time on task. It appears that that I don't know, but the illiteracy rate of our children, and I guess you're saying that the data that you've been reading, that the literacy rate is improving. That's your understanding?
I wouldn't say the literacy rate is improving. I said the graduation rate is improving. It has improved. However, literacy rate, we still have schools within the district that are still on the needs improvement list. So
explain that to me a little bit. Like what did it mean to be on the needs improvement list?
I mean, we have these testings that we do, our youth do every year. End of course test, end of school year test, but the GMAS is something that they just recently did. And I know our middle school Eddie is still on that needs improvement list.
You know how many
So
students, how many schools in the district are on the needs
I
improvement
don't
list?
have that data right off.
Okay.
I can pull it up, but for the
Okay.
sake of time, I'll
Okay.
just. But no, I don't have that. But as far as I'm sorry, what was your question again? The original question.
Well, basically, I'm saying those three variables,
Mhm.
and in terms of needs, time on task, and of course,
Parent involvement,
right, parent
and
involvement
teacher
and teacher expectations, and the question becomes because we already talked a little bit about whether or not what the discipline situation looks like. I've also had a problem with the fact that that the school district has been spending, in my opinion, money on having police officers in the schools rather than mentors. Personally, I just believe that police officers really create the wrong atmosphere for a learning environment, and that it's okay for them to be on the campus for security purposes or around the neighborhoods, but walking the halls with a gun. I just think that that's a better job for mentors. What do you think about that?
Yeah, have you actually seen officers walk the halls with guns in the schools?
I've seen the officers, with guns walking the campuses, yes.
Because most of the times I'm seeing when I go into the schools that I service or do community work in the schools, I don't actually see those officers walking the halls with their guns because that can bring on a negative thought to our youth. To see, a lot of, we are already trying to make it smooth it out where it's not like our officers are bad. We don't want a school resource officers walking around with the gun. Yes, they intervene when you have those issues when it comes to, our safety and the safety of others. That's what they're there for. I'd also say, hey, yes, even down to parental involvement. Let's get these parents back involved in, our schools.
Okay.
Go and sit in these classes and see how your kids really act when you not around.
Okay.
Okay.
We wind it down, but if you have I give it, say, about 60 seconds here to just kind of wrap up, really, what is your ultimate goal for running for the school board District 7?
Okay, again, my name's Lakeitha Ash, and I'm running again for your school board District 7. Like I said from the beginning, we deserve that representation that will fight for our youth safety, restore hope and accountability, and raise student achievement goals through recognition. Early voting starts May 30th. Election date is June 20th. We have 2 Saturday votes in June for early vote on June 3rd and June 10th. I just ask people to get out and vote. For me, I am that one that will go on and restore that hope and accountability that they're looking for.
Okay, your name again?
Lakeitha Ash, School Board District 7.
Okay, so you just heard it from Miss Lakeitha Ash, School Board District 7. We're gonna take a brief break here.
And we got Ms. Nia Williams says, tablets prepare students for the times we are in, but books should be made available to students if preferred. That's Ms. Nia Williams in the comments.
Okay, all right. So again, and we appreciate the comments of all us. I think we have a number of people to chiming in, and so we certainly appreciate all of them. And we'll take a little break right here, and we'll thank you for coming out, and good luck on your campaign. And
thank you for having me.
And of course, we hope that there's all our elected officials have to come up under more and better scrutiny, because we've had some problems with representation of what the people's interests are. And so therefore, for you to put yourself out as a candidate, we certainly appreciate the fact that it takes time and energy and resources. So we appreciate you doing that, and good luck on your campaign.
All righty. Thank you so much. Did you put the website information out there, or can I give that information?
Yeah, you can give it out.
Okay. Yes. Again, my name's Lakeitha Ash. You can visit my webpage at Vote for Ash. That's VOTE, the number 4 ASHE.com. And that gives you the opportunity to learn more about Lakeitha and also to make donations right there from the site.
All right. Good luck.
All right.
Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
day. All right.
You as
Bye-bye.
well.
Oh, well, you just heard from Miss Lakeitha Ash, and she's a candidate for District 7. And her platform is pretty clear in terms of what her target issues are and her concerns. And so now you have a clear choice as to who you want to support in the upcoming school board election that's going to have Ms. Ash and Ms. Frey, who will be competing for that position that Ms. Kathy Williams held previously. So again, also, I want to share a little thought of the day, if I can find it before we go. And it's called Good Times. Life is a circle of happiness, sadness, hard times, and good times. If you're going through hard times, have faith. The good times are on the way. And that's the way we look at it. And we hope that you enjoyed the comments that were made. Again, we have to be really, really critical, and we have to be very, very clear about what is crippling our children. And we can't follow every trend, because it's a new trend don't mean that it's good. I mean, fast foods, hamburgers and McDonald's and Burger King, that's a trend, drive-thrus. But home cooking is still good. The home cooking is still better for you, more nutrition for you when you get that home cooked meal. So my point of it is that we got to remember that there's some basics, there's some fundamentals that we don't want to get away from, and we're going to fight, because our children deserve that fight to make sure they'll get that old-fashioned good times education. So we hope that you have a clear picture, and you want to go back on some of our previous shows. You want to hear Ms. Frey. If you didn't hear her interview, you can hear hers, and you can listen to Ms. Ash, and they make an informed decision making. It's not an emotional decision. It's a decision that's going to make the difference as to who can better represent our children and the interests of our children, and to assure that they're able to, in particular our children, that they're not able to just come out and get a job, because that's, to me, that's the only thing a community does. We want children to be, that's training. We want children to be educated so they can come out and build a better community. That's what we think it's all about. So whoever can do that best, whoever believes in that kind of value, that's what it's all about for me. No permanent enemies, no permanent friends, permanent interests. Our interest is to assure that our children have a foundation that they can get that's going to prepare them to rule the world and not just be ruled. Well, supper time is over for today. We're going to close up the village. Thank you for listening. Invite your friends to join in our weekly meal, supper time. Let's build that spirit of Harambee. Organize, organize, organize. Educate, educate, educate. Pamoja, Tutashinda, Uhuru Sasa, Watu Wazuri. Peace, soul, love, with a little sprinkle of power. Good night.